This is Synced Vibes, a platform dedicated to music discovery, where we connect with the artists we believe in, giving them the spotlight they deserve. Welcome, 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 welcome. All right, man. First of all, thank you so much for pulling up. Really appreciate you, man.
No problem, man.
For sure.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. So the goal here today is to figure out who you are as an artist and individual, and just hear how you feel about the world and things around you, right?
Cool.
Let's do it. So first off, let's talk about your name and how'd you get it.
Yeah, so I'm Smiles. I got it from my mom. So like, I don't know how old I was. I may have been like, I don't know, like 10 or 11 or something. But it was around the time like DJ Hero had just came out, and like, you know, like Best Buy, you know, they let you play video games and stuff, and they had DJ Hero like sitting there. So I just started playing it. And my mom was like, oh, look, we got a little DJ here. Oh yeah, we'll call you DJ Smiles. And I was like, Smiles? Like, where'd she get it from? But my name is Simon Miles, so together Smiles. And I just took the DJ off and was like, I like that.
Okay, I had my own like theory of why they call you Smiles, because when you do smile, like it's distinct. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
I get that
theory
a
about
lot.
that too. Right.
But
that's what's up.
yeah,
it came from your mom. That's tight. So that stuck with you from childhood, or you picked it back up later on?
Yeah, no, that stuck with me from childhood. My dad used to be a rapper, and his name was Villain. So at the time, I called myself Lil V.
That's wild.
But
okay. Yeah.
but after once she said Smiles, I was like, I like Smiles more, and the fact I just smiled is just coincidence. So.
A little more positive. You feel me?
Yeah.
So where do you call home?
Oh man, that's a good question. I'd say any place that I feel welcomed and comfortable. So I guess, you know, where I live, my family, my friends. That's where I call home.
So would you say you're open to moving anywhere and being anywhere as long as you feel like you got your peace and you're comfortable there?
Honestly, well, you mean like moving as in like just like living in another place?
Yeah, another place in the future, wherever.
I think the drive to, I guess, want to experience new experiences would make me want to like live other places, you know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, bet. So describe growing up for me.
Describe a what?
Describe how you grew up.
Man, how I grew up was it was a lot for a while. I was moving from place to place in my elementary school years. It wasn't until like 4th grade that I like stayed just still. I'll go back and forth from like the suburbs where I was living with my mom, and then I go like to, you know, Ellenwood, Georgia, where my dad was staying. And, you know, I think seeing the different like contrasts of you know, being in the suburbs versus like being in like the hood, like it kind of shaped how I am today. And I say I also had a very musical childhood, you know, like my dad was a rapper, but he was also producing. My mom was always singing, you know. My grandfather, before he passed away, he was a really good bassist. My other grandfather was in a church choir and also part of a band. Like, there's music everywhere. So I think just taking in the music that I was, you know, hearing and around and stuff. That was pretty much my childhood though. Really just going back and forth between my mom and my dad, listening to a lot of music. And making a lot of music too. That's pretty much it though.
Okay. Describe to me your clearest childhood memory.
Clearest childhood memory. My clearest childhood memory. Man, I remember when I might have been in like 7th grade. And, you know, I was like making beats at the time. I was also like a band kid though. So I was like always practicing drums on like, because I was playing percussion in band and stuff, so I was always practicing my drums and stuff. And my uncle, he always wanted me to like play sports. Like he wanted me to play football. I was a big little kid, so he was like, I want you to like, so
You were stocky, you wanted you to use it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So he like came over to my dad's place, and he was asking, he started talking to me, man. He was like, man, why you in band, man? You need to be playing football. This is. I was like, I don't know, man. I just like playing, I just like music. And then he heard one of my like beats that I made. He was like, oh, and he was just really impressed. And I guess after that, like he kind of supported my music endeavors, and that meant a lot to me because it was, I think back when I was younger, it was hard for me to find people that actually like supported my dreams of like, being an artist, being a musician. So it meant a lot to me, and that sticks with me in my heart. So yeah.
What's up, man? So he wanted you to do that, but as soon as he saw like this guy's real potential, I mean, let me not push him in a direction he doesn't want to go in.
Yeah. He was very much so like, bro, like keep going, which was crazy to me because he was like he was like, band geek, you a band geek? Why you a band geek? But he heard it, he was like, I see why. I get it. Keep going.
Gotcha. So he was just roasting you. He didn't really mean. He was trying to
yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your school experience. What was that like?
Man, my parents are they're very school oriented. A lot of the times they're like, I know you want to do your music stuff, but like school comes first. So I had to always make sure like my grades were like top notch. They made sure I got my degree first before I really went like full gung ho into like music and stuff. So, school was cool. I did go to like a predominantly like white school, for like my middle and high school years. And that did like affect me, like being around a lot of like, I had a few racist moments, and have that happen to me kind of affected me and affected who I was. It kind of made me not really want to be myself, and then it made me unproud to be black sometimes, which is very sad to say. But it's kind of why like now my motto is just to be you. You know what I'm saying? Be yourself, because at the end of the day, like you may be doing something that in the future other people are like, oh my God, which in the present they probably like, why are you doing that shit, But just be you, be authentic, be yourself, be proud to be who you are, and yeah, man. But
Gotcha. Yeah, I've had similar experiences with that, going to white schools and stuff like that. But do you feel like you reacted to those situations differently now that you're older?
No, honestly, which is crazy. I think not always growing up, but when I was younger, like I had a lot more violence like in my life. Like I was fighting a lot, and I think that made me, like, as I was older, just try and make sure that I go through every possibility. I try and go through every type of action before getting to violence. So when those moments would happen, I will always, I just ignore it. Because I'm like, it's just words. It is what it is. Like, I'm not hurt.
I feel that. It's also pure ignorance.
It's pure ignorance,
Sure.
So I always viewed it as like, it is what it is. And I still do the same thing, like be on MARTA. Sometimes stuff like that happens too. You got those, maybe some crazy white person come on a train and start saying racist stuff to you. Sometimes some people may fly off the handle and punch them in the face. Some people just realize it's just ignorance and they stay quiet. And that's me. I realize it's ignorance. I stay quiet. And I've been like that for years. So
yeah, I feel like a lot of people have that same experience that you had. It's still saying you get mad at it at first because it does hurt. You see what I'm saying? When you get older, you realize that that's their last resort. It's to call you the N-word. You see what I'm saying? They call you a nigga. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
You got nothing else to say. You can roast me about a million things, but you decided to say that. It doesn't show how weak you are in a sense. You feel me?
Exactly.
So there's no point in getting pissed off about it. You can't laugh about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. So outside of music, who was your major influence in your life?
Honestly, my parents, man. I think, really, as far as like guitar playing went, I look to like my mom because I don't know. As I was younger, like my biggest drive was just to impress her. I like the feeling of like playing an instrument and or playing a song and learning it and like her reaction to it. I wanted to like hear more, or like if I make a beat or something, I wanted to show my dad and hear or see his reaction. And you know, I think they influenced me a lot. Just to, keep doing what I'm doing. Even when, people were kind of preying on my downfall, I looked to them to keep doing what I was doing. And yeah, I say they were probably my biggest inspirations. Also my friends, you know. I'd say, of course, I guess this is music related, but they're doing music themselves, and I guess the music that they make and how they create and what they do, it pushes me to be a better artist. I see them like making stuff all the time, and I'm like, man, I gotta get like y'all. I gotta stay on that. Like, I gotta push myself. I gotta go harder.
Yeah, first-hand examples of people really doing it, so you gotta produce you to do the same.
Exactly. Yeah, I and also my significant other, man. I feel like, and just with life in general, like I say, the way she goes about doing stuff, and I guess like the maturity that she has, I look up to that. I see that, and I'm like, I want to implement that in my own life decisions and what I do, and so really just the people around me, I guess. Those are my biggest inspirations.
That's great, man. That's great. So when it comes to your musical background, I want you to touch more on that. What was that like growing up, having music around you? Because it seems like that's how it was.
Yeah. It was pretty. It was funny, but it was also cool. Like, I grew up listening to all kinds of stuff. I had all types of phases. I had like a rock phase, hip hop phase, jazz phase. All types of stuff. So, a lot of the music that I listened to, like I may have been like introduced to it by like my mom. Like my mom, she put me on to like alternative music and alternative rock, and that made me want to dive into like hard rock, metal, all that other stuff. And then like I think being with my dad and living with him, he showed me like hip hop, and the family on his side, they would be showing me all types of different stuff. Like they put me on to Kendrick Lamar, and when I heard Good Kid, Mad City, I would listen to that album and that album alone by itself every single day from beginning to end, over and over and over. But they put me on to hip hop stuff and different hip hop artists, and I think having that contrast was, or I guess that variety of music at my disposal really shaped, my music ears. And but it was funny because it would be like, if ever I tried, well, no, that's not true, but whenever I would bring up like rock music or something, like to like my dad's side, they'd be like, what, this white people music, this, that, and third. But my mom was more open to all types of like music. But it was just funny, I'd be like, hey, check out this song. They'd be like, oh, you listen to this white music? It's like, but yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
If you think about it, it's all derived from Black people anyway, if you really think about it.
It is. That's what I think. I'm like, it's all derived.
So it's a good point to put in there. So did your parents push you like to learn guitar, to learn piano, stuff like that? No?
Nah.
That wasn't on that, no?
Yeah, nah. What really pushed me was just like, it was a gradual thing. Like at first, it really all started like Guitar Hero. I loved Guitar Hero, and when I was playing Guitar Hero, it made me want to play an actual guitar. But then they came out with Rock Band, and they had a drum set, so I was like, I want to play drums. So then I would be wanting a drum set, so I'd be asked for like a drum set, but nobody could afford a drum set, so my grandma ended up giving me a guitar. And so when she passed, I was like, I have to learn this guitar, because she gave me this guitar before she passed. This is the only thing I have to like remember her by, besides like photos and stuff.
Gotcha.
So I started learning guitar. I started wanting to play guitar for people. And then after like guitar, I started like producing, because I would see like my dad making beats, and I hopped on the laptop started making my own beats, and then I wanted to combine the two. And then once I got bored of that, I was like, no, I wanna actually just make my own like songs like all the way through. And I couldn't find anybody that wanted to like sing on any of my beats and stuff. So I was like, forget it. I'll just learn how to sing. I'll do it myself. So then I just started doing it, and I just kept going. And yeah, now we're here. You know, it became my passion. It became the thing that I love. Just so yeah.
Just something. How many instruments do you play?
I guitar, bass. I'm finding out that I kind of play drum set. I didn't know, but
Okay.
I could do that too. But I think those might be the only three I play. Yeah.
Gotcha. Do you dabble with anything else at all besides the drums?
I tried to play piano for a little bit. I took like a piano class in high school. I got a B in it, but did I learn much from that class?
Yeah.
Not really.
Gotcha.
Back then I kind of had a good grip on like the scales and stuff, but it's been years since then, so I don't remember much from it. Yeah, I think that's really the only other instrument I tried to like dabble in.
Gotcha. So you would say you're a self-learner. You didn't really have like the traditional path towards it.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay.
YouTube was like my best friend when it came to like learning new stuff as far as like instruments and stuff. So
That's what's up. So when did it become a career path? Like, okay, I love music. I want to do this, but I want to make this a career now.
Well, I can't exactly pinpoint like what the exact time was, but I know there was a period of time, and it probably was like middle school-ish, but like I sat down with myself, and everybody sits down and go like, what am I gonna do for the rest of my life? And I was like, anything else that I say, I'm not gonna be like fully content with my occupation. Like I'm probably gonna be like, man, this is cool, but I'm still gonna wake up like, I have to go to work, But when I thought of like music, I was like, man, I would feel so great if I was making a living just doing this. Like if I was making a living just making music and doing, I don't know, just creating, like I would be happy. And that was when I was like, I have to make that a reality. I can't live this life being sad doing something else for the rest of my life. Like this is something I have to do. Like,
Gotcha.
So
did you begin to make music with more intention when you figured that out, or you just started doing let's do this more and more often, basically?
I don't know. I mean, I say I always kind of made music with intention, but I say what it did do was start making me think of, I guess, the people that are listening to my music. Like I started thinking of fans. Like before, I don't like calling them fans, but I don't know what
a lot of people don't like that.
Yeah, like I guess supporters, people that support. Like I guess at first it was like I'm just gonna put out what I want to put out. Forget what anybody else is thinking. But then when I started thinking about like, okay, I want to make this into a living, I was like, okay, well, at the end of the day, like the people that are listening to what I'm making is, they're in control of my paycheck. So to a degree, I have to think about what, they want. And, but I think as I've grown as an artist in the industry, I realized like, no, I had it right the first time. Honestly, I want to do things in a sense of like, I want to create what I want to create, and the people that like what I make, they're gonna come by, they're gonna stick with it, and if you don't like it, then it is what it is. It's cool, but I don't want to just make stuff solely for y'all. Like, I got into music as a sense of like it helped me get through the day. It helped me get, it was like a therapy for me. And so if I start making it for other people, that's not a therapy for me. That's a therapy for y'all, when I want it to be a therapy for all of us. I want all of us to connect with what I'm creating. So
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'd say that's,
No, that makes sense. It's still intention. So you want to make it for yourself, but like you just said, it's for all of us.
Yeah.
So even though you're putting it out for yourself, you want to be happy with what you put out. You still want people to be able to relate, people to love what you're doing as well too.
Yeah.
If they like it, they like it. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's,
There you go. So an example of that is your album, right? Love Broken Human.
Right.
So much you props on that album. It's freaking amazing.
Thank you.
It's really, really
Thank you
good.
so much.
The best thing I took from it was the song structure, like the technical aspect of it, like the sequencing of the songs, the way they went into each other was perfect.
Thank you.
Like I can tell it took a lot of time to do that.
Yeah.
So what inspired that album?
Really what I was going through in that moment, in that time. I knew I wanted to make an album. Before that album, I had an album that I had made that I scrapped because I realized it was a bunch of songs of just me experimenting with myself, experimenting with FL Studio, just trying to find myself out, my artist, or trying to figure out my art style, my all that. This album was more so like, okay, I know I want to make something, but I don't know what I should make. And I realized I just want to make something that's describing what I'm going through at the moment. So that's what I did. It's pretty much just like, talking about what I was going through. And Love Broken Human was pretty much just the 3 words that I was thinking of that could describe what I was going through. I was in love. I was also broke, but I also realized that I was human and I fuck up and I make mistakes, but it is what it is. Sometimes you think certain things and you think that that's the way to go about it, and then you realize later on in life, like, you know what, maybe I was wrong about that. Maybe I should do things differently here, So yeah, that's really, what drove that on. I just wanted to tell what I was going through, and it just happened to be, I guess, so it worked out because it was all in sequential order. So as all that stuff happened, I was just making a song about it, and I was just, creating. It just worked out because
Got you.
time.
It was like a biography of how you were feeling at that point in your life.
Pretty much, yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
So when you go back to the sequencing of it, was that all that intentional? Like each song being where it is intentional?
Yes. Yeah. And I think like I pretty much just I had a whole list of how I wanted, like what I wanted each song to be about before I made the songs. And there's like transitions and stuff, so I had to map out how I wanted it to like transition. The ghost interlude, like that was a whole thing about like I was in a situation where there was a lot of women that were like upset at me, and they were like texting me saying all types of stuff, or like calling me saying all types of stuff. So I wanted to represent that by like, and then the next song is literally talking about how like I'm in love with this woman, because literally that's how that whole thing happened. And before I made any of that, I had just a list of what I wanted those songs to be about.
Gotcha.
So yeah, no, it was definitely intentional.
Gotcha. So have you always made songs or projects like that? Because you might have other projects that you tested out first, but you always done that, or that was your first time doing that?
That was my first time doing that. I had another project where I was just working with like other artists. Like I pretty much made all the beats, and I just let the artists do whatever they wanted to do.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that was literally the first time I was just like, I want this to have like I want there to be intention in my storytelling in this whole album. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
So from beginning to end, how long did it take to make the album and then put it out?
I think 7 months last time I calculated.
Okay.
Mainly because at the time, like before I made the album, my laptop had broke.
Okay.
And I was while my laptop was broke, I was just gaining inspiration, which I needed, because before my laptop broke, I was always like just sitting at my laptop trying to figure out how to make something. I wanted to be as consistent as possible, but I was just I couldn't figure out what to make. And I realized the reason I didn't know what to make was because I had been sitting at my laptop too long. I needed some type of inspiration. I'd go out and look at the world, experience things and whatnot. So yeah, my laptop had broke, and while I'm sitting there just gaining inspiration and finding stuff that I like, and getting, getting sad, getting happy, getting whatever. When my laptop came back, I just had so much stuff in my brain I just wanted to create, and I just was creating it. It was just
pouring it
flowing.
out into there. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I was able to make it in such a short time. And
Gotcha. So even though the album is about you, it's about you, about your life, about how you feel about things, the world around you, was there a vision or a message that you want to get across to the listener?
Honestly, not really. I was just like, whatever people get from this, hey, that's good. I had no intention of just being like, hey, y'all, like, I want y'all to learn that such and such. Like, it was more so, it to me, it felt more like I guess like a journal of what I was going through and how it all ended up becoming a happy thing and something that I'm proud of going through. But I never really had any like intention of, I guess showing people like, hey, this is whatever, or just showing people a lesson, whatever.
And hopefully they can relate to it at the end of it.
Yeah. I guess that's really what I wanted. I wanted people to, I guess, relate to it. And I guess mainly because that's how I view music. For me, I like music that I relate to because I started liking music based on how much I relate to it because it made me feel less alone. So I guess to an extent, I just want others to feel less alone. So if they're going through something similar to what I'm writing, then, then they can connect to it. And then we're, both on the same type of wavelength on that type of thing, so.
Gotcha. So we'll talk about the production on your album. Who's responsible for that? All you? All right, when'd you start producing?
I was 9. I was 9. My dad, he produced, and I kept asking my dad like to make beats for me because I would be writing little raps in my room while I was like 5 or 6. And I'd be like, Dad, can you make a beat for me? He'd be like, yeah, I'll make you a beat. And he just would never make me a beat. So one day he had his laptop open. I just hopped on there and I started making a beat. I made this one beat, like I think the first beat I ever made, it was not good. I tried to make a Soulja Boy type beat. It didn't come out that way, but I still liked it. I was like, this is really fun. Like I want to do this again. And ever since then, I've just been making beats all the time on different laptops and different, so yeah.
Gotcha. I'm sure since you were young when you started that, it was easier to pick it up than somebody learning when they're older.
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I'd say for me anyway, I probably would have had an easier time learning, I guess, like now than then, because I would have had so much more experience with like guitar playing or just like
sounds in general.
Sounds in general. But at the time, like I was in band, and so I think, while I was playing drums, like reading sheet music for drums kind of taught me, I guess, like the basics of like I guess like quantizing like notes and stuff and understanding like what certain like lines on the grid on FL Studio means. Like I could tell like there would be boxes where you got to put the notes, and I'm like, oh, okay, these are 16th notes for the things. Okay, and the big line, like the big border, is for like quarter notes, and so I would just do it like that. So, I think if I was older, it probably would have helped, but I didn't really have much of a problem because I just put my band knowledge over to FL Studio, and it just worked really well.
Gotcha. So did you always feel confident enough to always record on your own music or on your own beats and stuff like that, or did you outsource at any point?
Honestly, yeah, I always felt kind of confident. I kind of grew up like, going through music like, forget it, I'm gonna do it myself, because I can't really trust anybody to execute my vision the way that I want it to be executed. So a lot of times, like, and it would be like initially I would have like the thought of like, okay, maybe I could, ask this person, but either, they would maybe let me down by not, doing it, or, they would do it and I'd be like, can you do that with a little more feeling? And then it just wouldn't be what I'm asking for. And I'm like, I'm gonna have to do this on my own. So there was a period where it was like, I wanna hop on other people's beats, but once I started making my own, I was like, nah, I rather, I feel more confident like doing this. I think now I'm more so in a period, I think now that I've, put out a sound that I feel like is something that I'm proud of, something that I want to, I guess, describe me as an artist, I'm more so like, yeah, now I wanna, hop on other people's beats, or I feel, I guess, a little more confident hopping on other people's stuff, because it's not like people are, I guess, like seeing me as an artist that I'm like, that's not the type of artist that I am. Like, you're seeing me as in a light that I'm more like, okay, that more so represents me. But yeah. No.
You hold your skills so you can go into any room and still be you, still stick out uniquely.
Exactly.
There you go, bet.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, you have your musician skills, right? Your technical musician skills with the guitar. You have the beats, and then you have your voice. When did it all come together to be like, I have one sound now? I know I can, like you just said, go into any room and still be me.
Man, honestly, recently, very, very recently, probably when the album dropped, cause nobody knew what, like, before this album came out, I had other songs that were out that, some of them I would make because I knew other people would like it, but I wasn't really into it that much. Some I made because I liked it and I didn't care what other people thought. Some I made just cause I was just doing whatever. I was like, this seems fun, I'll just do this. It was a mix of everything. But when people would like send me stuff like to hop on, I'm like, this isn't me. Like, I don't do this type of music. So when I made the album, I think that was the first time I like was able to take all that I knew and put it towards like a sound that I like genuinely was like proud of and wanted to continue. So yeah, it took a while, and it took a lot of like critical thinking, like trying to figure out like, what sound makes me the most happy with my results? What sound do I connect with the most? What sound do I feel like describes me as an artist and as a person? So yeah, I'd say probably a year ago.
Got you. So making the album and then other people hearing it and being like, oh, that's cool too. It solidified like, all right, I got something here.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely think, yeah.
There you go. No, for sure.
Yeah.
So what artists would you say growing up you listened to that helped like build your perspective and like hone your perspective on what sounds good?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it was definitely multiple people from like different avenues of music. I say as far as like who inspired me to I guess make an album, or I guess be as hard as I was on myself as far as like how good I want the album to be. Kendrick. Literally, Good Kid, Mad City was the album I was like, I have to make something that makes me feel the way that this album does. To me, like in my opinion, I still haven't accomplished that, but I'm still proud of the project that I did. But that, that album made me, push myself like that. And then, there's other artists as far as like my sound, like, I'm sure you could hear it, but like Steve Lacy was a good,
for sure.
Thundercat.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's
dude,
crazy.
Oh my God. Liv, Anderson .Paak.
Yeah, that was one I was like, okay, I can see the influence there for sure.
Yeah, Anderson, he's Knowledge as well. That whole No Worries like project, fantastic.
Classic shit for sure.
Yeah. The White Stripes. Some other ones too. I'm probably forgetting, but there's also a few like down like the indie road as well. But quite a few artists.
So we'll talk about the song Mine. on there. So you confidently sing on that one, Can Nobody Really Love You. So what does love mean to you?
To me, I don't know, man. It's an indescribable feeling, you know. I mean, you could describe when like somebody like what like means to you, like, you know, you feel good inside when, you know, you see that person, or you like, you know, love is different. Love is more intense. Love is like, I don't even know, that like you just feel so strongly for someone that like they can do things to you that normal people, if they did that to you, you probably wouldn't talk to them anymore, but you would stick it out for that person, you know, or just like, I don't know, just wanting to see that person like succeed, or I don't know, it's just a very powerful feeling, you know. It's like asking me like, what does hate mean to me? Like, I don't know, like it's just a very powerful feeling, you know. It's easy to ask, or it's easy to describe how, you know, like how you feel when you dislike someone. It's hard to describe when you hate someone. So yeah, I feel love is the same way. It's just powerful, positive feeling you have for somebody.
Yeah, I feel like both things you said, hate and love, is damn near spiritual in a sense. Like you don't know where it comes from, but it's there. You feel me?
Yes, exactly. That's perfect, spiritual.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
It's just a spiritual feeling.
Certain things can bring it out in you, but when you feel it, it's like, I don't know why I hate this motherfucker, and I don't know why I love this motherfucker either. You feel me?
Yeah, exactly.
Feel you.
Exactly.
So at this point, do you feel like you know what love truly is when you sense it, when you feel it? Do you know what that is?
No.
No?
I don't.
Gotcha.
Oh, yeah, man. I have no idea. It's just something that kind of hits you, you know. Yeah, you know. I mean, you know that you'll love your family. You know, that's your fam. But I think, you know, let's say like a person, like, you know, you'll realize, like, you'll be mentally like, oh, I really like this person. I really like this person. You'll keep saying in your head, like, I like this person. But I don't know, there's no specific point where it's like, I love this person. Like, it's just like, it's a gradual thing. You kind of look at the things that you're doing with this person, for this person, you know, and after you reflect, you kind of think like, dang, like, I think I love them. Like, you know, like, I think I have, you know, or maybe something happens and it's like, nah, like, I love, like, you know, like, I don't know. I don't really know when it happens, but I just know, like, when I go through those things, when I do those things, and I think back to it, and I go, why did I do that? That's when I find out, oh, I love them. You know?
Gotcha. Another song I want to talk about is Unconditional Part 2.
Yeah.
I feel like that song, even though it fits in there, it's still like an outlier to me. So you know what I'm saying? It's basically the structure, what you're saying, the way you sing it, but it made me think like, damn, what was this fool thinking when you went in there that day? Like somebody pissed him off or something like that, whatever it was. But like, so tell me the thought process of going into that song right there.
So, Unconditional Part 2 was, okay, so I have like songs that I'm like, okay, I'll put it out, you know? And then there's songs that are just for me. That song was initially just supposed to be for me.
Gotcha.
I didn't really look to everyone. I did it because I was like, I have to get this stuff off my chest.
Literally my thoughts exactly, for sure.
You know?
He got him to get off his chest that day, like that wasn't some random song.
It literally was me getting these thoughts off my chest, and I don't want to go too far into like what it was about or anything, but it was just a therapy session, and while I was or a therapy session with myself, and while I was trying to, I guess, like figure out how I can explain what I want to explain without saying too much, I was like, man, and I was trying to, I guess, invoke the feeling that I was feeling through words. And the only thing I was just like, dude, I hate the world right now. And it's like, okay, go deeper into that. Okay, I hate this, 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 like, you know. But at the end of the day, like, even though I hate everything, I still love you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's where I came from.
No, you did that perfectly, man. Because when you said I hate bitches, so I hate him too. I was like, oh
Yeah.
no, so many pissed this guy off. That shit was
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
No, you did that
yeah.
well, man.
Thank you.
So yeah, in all that album just displays like to me emotional intelligence. Like you can tell that you care about the people around you, whether it's friends, family, significant others. You're tuning into their emotions, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's naturally you, or something you had to learn over time to do?
I think maybe that was maybe a little bit of both. Honestly, I don't really know. I can tell you when I started to like when I really realized like, or I guess started trying to be a little more emotionally intelligent, because when I was like younger, I did a lot of fighting. So when I moved to like the suburbs, you know, I was kind of a hostile kid. So, you know, people would be like playing with me, they'd be joking with me, and one guy just lightly pushed me, you know, and I kind of grew up with the thought of like, if they put their hands on you,
They try you at all, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my first instinct was to just shove this dude. And so I did, and everybody is looking at me like, bro, like, what's your problem? Like, he was just playing with you. And it was the first time in my life that I felt like a bully, or I felt like a evil person. Like, I felt, you know,
Like so something's wrong. Like I'm not reacting the way I should to certain things. Yeah.
And so I was like, man. And so after that, I started kind of trying, like, I think after that, I started paying a little more attention to my own emotions, other people's emotions, and just trying to be aware of, you know, just how people feel. And, you know, I'm not perfect, you know, I mess up I mess up sometimes, but I think that was a key moment in my life where I was just like, I for the first time, I considered other people and how they may feel versus, you know, the protection of myself. And I think I may have always had that ability to do it, but I think that was the first time I actually chose to really do it.
No, that's what's up, man. It's all about perspective, in my opinion. Like, you have to be able to open yourself up to be like, all right, I can't, it's this room, I can't act this way because these people are on this vibe.
Yeah.
And this energy, if I'm at school, I can't get mad every time a kid cracks a joke.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But I feel like tuning into yourself, like, it's like I said, you were a mad kid at one point, right? But tuning into yourself, you realize, okay, now I can tune into other people and see how they're feeling. Like, I know, I can recognize what that is.
Exactly.
That's dope, man. That's dope. So, how long did it take, or how much energy does it take to manage the various relationships in your life? Because I feel like the album's a lot about that too.
At the time, a whole lot. So much to the point where like people would say stuff to me, and after a while, like I wasn't numb, but like it was the first time I ended up being like so nonchalant about certain like stuff. Like people would tell me the worst stuff, and I'd be like, okay, it is what it is. I gotta go to school. Yeah, I don't, you know. I think now as I'm going through, you know, a lot of different life experiences and just new stuff in general, I'm learning to balance it better. But at the time, it was a lot. It was a lot of stress. I think as the album, you know, ended, as I started reaching that point in my life, I started to get a better hang on it, and I started to appreciate life more and appreciate the people that I did have around me at the time. But yeah, you know.
Okay, yeah. So based on that subject matter, is it easy for you to write records?
No.
No?
No, for a lot of reasons. You know, a lot of people will say I'm very hard on myself, and I say I am. I say I'm definitely hard on myself, and that definitely makes it hard for me to write records. I'll spend a lot of time like trying to make sure the mix is the way that I want it, or I spend a lot of time like trying to make sure like the song evokes the type of feeling that I wanted to feel, or that I wanted to, you know, evoke. But I think I'm trying to get better at it. You know, I'm trying to be a little less like harsh on myself. But at the same time, I like that about myself. I'm not gonna bullshit myself. I'm not gonna be like, this is good when it's not. I'm not gonna confidently tell somebody that this is fantastic when I know in my head it's not. But no, it's not easy. It's some songs are. Some songs are like, you can like, maybe I'm just having fun on the track and I don't care if it's good or bad, it is what it is. Some songs, you just making a day. And some songs, it takes you months,
Gotcha.
So,
Does it depend on the song, or it depends on what you're saying in the song?
both.
Okay.
Both. Also,
Gotcha.
because sometimes you want to figure out like what you want to say to, I guess, like express what you want to express in a way that like it shows the emotion that you were feeling in that time. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes, and then on top of that, sometimes songs gotta rhyme. So you gotta, figure out a way to do that and then make it rhyme. So it's like, then you gotta worry about the flow, how you want it to flow. You don't want the flow to be like, it just depends. But, maybe I don't want the flow for this song to be super duper choppy. I want to just, flow. Then I'm like, okay, well, what's the best words to put in there that'll fit and that'll make it sound right? So,
It has to sound good at first. It can be as deep as it wants to be, but if it doesn't sound good, there's no point.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
So having to dig so deep, like, what did you learn about yourself during the process of this album that you didn't see before?
I think, before the album, I would say I was very egotistical. I had a chip on my shoulder. But I think what I learned is like, there's always gonna be a bigger fish than you. You know what I'm saying? You're not like, you're not the king of, to yourself, you were the king of all kings. At least to myself, I'm the king of all kings. Like I am the main character in my own story. But I think it's more so just like, ego death. Like I'm not perfect. I mess up. I'm not the greatest person in the world. I will have moments where I will let people down. I will disappoint people. It happens. It's life. It's best to take those moments that you experience and use them as, I guess, like a lesson. Use it as a moment to, I guess, learn about yourself and realize like, okay, I messed up this time, but I need that mess up to be the person that I am right now. So,
So where do you believe your perfectionist nature comes from? Because that was a big subject in that documentary you put out.
Yeah. I appreciate you watching the documentary.
For sure, man. For sure. I gotta do my research on it. You feel me? Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, thinking back on it, I wouldn't say I was a perfectionist, because there's too many tracks that I put out. I'm like, there was definitely mess ups here, but
Yeah, because when you said 7 months, that didn't seem crazy to me. When they're talking about like, this nigga's been doing this for 5 years, the same album, I'm like, 7 months doesn't seem that crazy.
No, it's and I wouldn't say I'm a perfectionist. I'd say, if anything, I'm just hard on myself. I'm just super duper, like I focus a lot on the details. But I think what made me that way is just the Kendrick album, man. Like hearing that album, and I guess just like knowing that like it's possible to create an album that can make somebody feel the way that album made me feel is what makes me go like, I want my music to make people feel that way. And so until I make something that I feel like is gonna like have somebody connected like that, I don't feel like I've accomplished greatness. So I say that's what really inspired me. And then, again, like my musical friends and just like people or friends that I have around me that just have good ears or have like the, I guess like have like a similar ear or just like a ear that I feel like I respect as far as like sound goes. Like, sometimes I look to them and I'm like, what are they doing here? Oh man, that's crazy. Or I hear something that maybe they made and I'm like, oh my God, this is wild. Like I stepped my game up. What am I doing? So, I say those probably inspired me to just really push myself and be.
Got you.
you know.
Because we live in an age now where like people are pushing shit out so quick that
Yeah.
7 months might seem long for a project, but
Yeah.
if you like talk to any real musicians really doing this right now, it just takes time to build a product that really is gonna last the test of time. You
It
know what I'm
does.
saying?
If I had the choice to go back in time, I'd take a longer time on this album. In my humble opinion, I definitely rushed this album for the sake of like just putting stuff out and just like I gotta be consistent. I gotta put it out. I gotta go. And if I go back in time, I would take my time and I would really, because who knows where I'd be if I could put out what I actually like really love to put out.
Gotcha. Yeah, it just takes time to be able to have build a fan base to be like, all right, they're gonna be patient with me while I do this.
Yes,
I
it
feel
does.
it. Right now, you're still young, you're still trying to figure out, okay, I need people to know what's going on, and then I can be more nitpicky about it.
Yeah, that's literally
For sure. Because to me, all that shows is like wanting to have things perfect, wanting things to make sense. To me, it just shows a lot of passion. So like, what do you think about music, like when you were young, that like cultivated that passion in you? Like, what was that aspect of it? It was like, all right, I really love this for this reason.
I think, you know, as a kid, I felt very alone a lot of times. And I think hearing songs that would explain the situation I was going through that made me feel alone, made me feel like, you know, it made me feel less alone. It made me feel like I could get out of that situation because I know somebody that has gone through that same situation and look where they are now, you know? So yeah, I really think like, you know, that was, I guess, like the thing that really like pushed it, you know?
Gotcha. So I had written down here like, why is no features on the album? But based on why you're talking right now, I can see why there aren't.
Yeah.
But do you feel like more open about getting on other people's songs or them getting on your songs?
Both. I guess like for me, well, okay, I'm definitely more open to both of those a lot more than what I was before. I think before, you know, I wanted it by myself because I just wanted to express the type of sound that I wanted. Now that I have that sound like out, even though I'm kind of making stuff in the vault where it's like I'm on a whole other sound now, but that's for a whole other time. But I think now that I've made that, I'm more so like, okay, I would love to hop on other people's songs. I'd love to have other people on my songs, you know. And I think maybe I'm more towards like just working with other people and like doing stuff on their stuff, because I would just love to learn how to collaborate a lot more, you know, and I love to, I guess, learn how to see how other people work instead of, you know, putting other people in my world, and then, you know, I want to be in other people's worlds and see, you know, how they do it, you know. And,
Gotcha.
you know.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So now that you put that out, you got all your feelings out on that project. People can tell who you are based off that, because I feel like most people's first projects, that's like their biography, damn near. So now you see that, now you're more open to be like, all right, let's experiment, let's have fun with it.
Exactly.
Dope.
Yeah.
So let's talk about promotion. What are your thoughts on self-promotion these days? Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. 'Cause I see you're not really that active on social media at all. So how do you feel about that?
I think there's like, there's a lot I want to say on this, and I'm trying to figure out how to start it. I think why people do what they do, as far as like, you know, I guess being consistent and consistently putting out like content, like it makes sense. It's for the algorithm, it's for people's attention spans nowadays. Like it makes total sense. I think though, for me, the combination of having to continuously put out content, but also wanting to make sure that content is absolutely fantastic, makes me putting out content a lot slower than anybody else. Like I'm trying to make sure, like, if you are seeing what I'm seeing, it doesn't feel like a commercial. It feels like you want to see this. Like if it is gonna be a commercial, it's gonna be like a commercial for the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna be something that you're going to want to see. Like if I post something, I want it to be something like, oh wow, Smiles just posted, I gotta watch this. You know,
Who could tell you put work into it when they look at it?
Exactly. And I want to keep that up. You know,
For sure.
And I have nothing against anybody that's, you know, just, you know, putting out content continuously. Honestly, I admire that, because I I have a hard time being that way. You know, I have a hard time just being super duper consistent and just being like, anything I get on this camera, I'm gonna post, you know? So yeah, I think it's really just me just trying to make sure what I put out is something that I feel like is, you know, great. But I think also consistency, like consistent wise, I think it's what a lot of people stress is consistency is key. And I think that's true. Consistency is key, but it also doesn't mean that you have to be consistently putting out stuff. Maybe your consistency could be in your quality.
Exactly.
Maybe, you know, whatever you put out, people are always gonna know, oh, it's gonna be quality stuff. Like for instance, like there was he's been around for quite some time, but nigga Higga, like a lot of people probably forgot, like he makes, you know, skits and stuff, but I used to go back to his content and I would look at it and it was like every video he put out was like, you could tell there was so much work that he put in, and it left me like wanting to watch another video and another video and another video, you know? And I got inspired by that. I was like, I wanted to be like that. I want, you know, what I create to be something that's so good that like people are like, man, like he's like, I have to watch another one. Like this is, oh my God, you know?
Yeah, I feel the same way, man, because with my interviews, stuff like that too, I'll spend nearly 2 weeks on just the coloring of the video.
Good.
And I feel like most people won't even recognize that. They'll just watch this
Yeah.
shit and not even recognize, oh, he spent that long on it, because nobody knows how long you do this stuff for, right?
Exactly, no.
But like, that's what I had to learn. Like, people just at a certain point, you just gotta put it out.
You do.
See what I'm saying? Like, you gotta find a way to put it out, be as consistent as you possibly can. Of course, quality is important, but people aren't gonna see what you see.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? As long as the song sounds good, as long as the interview sounds good, everything works together, just put it out and let it do what it's gonna do anyways. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right, honestly.
Definitely.
And I had another point, but I think it'll come later. But
Oh, for sure, gotcha. So are you planning on being more active on social media?
yeah, you know, honestly, right now, I'm just trying to make sure I get a bunch of content in the vault. When I get that content in the vault and I'm like, okay, this is a good amount of stuff, then you'll probably see me being more consistent. But right now, I'm just in the works. I'm putting it all aside so that I can just, you know, once it's time, you know, I don't think y'all will get tired of me, but I will be putting out quite a bit to where it's like, okay, we've seen Smiles quite a bit. And honestly, I could be doing so much more promotion with this album. The reason why I'm not promoting it as much is because what I got from it has already gave me so much stress that I'm kind of taking a break. Like I went
Like
into
good stress or like bad stress?
I guess to an extent, like both. Like because what was coming my way was stuff that I had wanted my whole life. But I then realized like it's not all glitz and glam. Everything's gonna seem like the grass is always gonna see greener on the other side. So when I was on that, like in that situation, I was like, man, like, yeah, this is what I wanted, or so I thought, you know? But I then realized like, this isn't the type of like, this isn't what I guess imagined it would be like. And so taking all that in, like, it's like, imagine if you had been wanting something your entire life and you finally get it and it's like, you know, it feels like being catfished. And now I'm having to recover from being catfished after I found out like the love of my life was not the love of my life. You know? So yeah, I just been taking a break and just trying to make sure like I just, you know, focus on this album too, but also focus on the next steps as well, and you know, focus on the future, you know, and make sure, you know, my future is looking right, make sure my future stuff is you know.
Yeah, so. You gotta just keep reminding people, like I said before, you gotta remind people that you're still out here, you're still doing it. Find ways to use this album for as long as you can to generate content, you see what I'm saying?
And I still got stuff coming on the way as far as like this album goes, like it's not stopping. Like,
yeah, keep it coming, dude.
The birthday for the album is coming up, so literally, I mean, it might be close to the birthday or on, I guess maybe quite past it, like a little bit past it once this comes out, but still stuff in the works.
Hell yeah, man. That's dope, man. So what's the most important thing you've learned so far business-wise?
You can do it all yourself. You
Okay.
don't necessarily need somebody. I mean, there may be times where you may have to make like business ventures and, you know, maybe partner with somebody. Cool. But as far as, you know, putting the work into, I guess, like be successful and make it, have your stuff out, do the marketing for it, you know, even putting money towards your stuff, you know, like a lot of people may sign like a deal, you know, you don't necessarily have to sign that deal. You can go take a loan out of the bank and, you know, now you're signed to yourself. You know, you can
Definitely.
you can do everything yourself. It's all based on whether or not you choose to do it yourself or not. So
Gotcha. But you just mentioned labels stuff. At this point right now, yeah, you can do most things yourself. I agree with that 1,000%.
yeah.
Like with me personally, I can't wait to hire people to do all this stuff for me. So you know what I'm saying, I just walk in, do the interview, and walk out.
Yeah.
But at your point, yeah, you're tailoring who you are right now, who you are, you're trying to be in this industry. So that makes sense that you do everything yourself, have that vision, like coherent and consistent. But like, let's say in the future, right? Have you thought about, do you want to be a major, independent, indie label? See what I'm saying?
Well, for the moment, I'm definitely wanting to be independent. That may change in the future, depending on like whatever I'm offered. But for right now, I'm definitely wanting to be independent as far as like, since I don't have the biggest fan base, or I don't have like, you know, all the, you know, I don't have a lot of the necessary tools to, you know, negotiate with other, you know, labels and stuff.
Exactly.
So for right now, I'm like, I'm gonna do this myself and make sure I build my fan base, do all this other stuff. And maybe later on, there may be a deal that I get with like a label. Maybe I get signed to Dreamville. That would be dope. I don't know. But, you know, for right now, I'm not worried about that.
You're not thinking that far ahead, you're just focused on right now.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
So what's the best advice you received from a fellow artist?
The best advice I received from a fellow artist, what is the best advice I received? I don't know, man. And it's all blanking to me, which sucks because I know Rokai is probably giving me so much advice that I still follow to this day.
That's somebody you can bounce all your ideas off of, how you're feeling about certain things.
Like Rokai has been my best friend since like 4th grade. Like we
Definitely.
knew, so you know, this whole like we're always sending each other stuff. I think, you know, one thing he's probably told me that I still, you know, carry to this day, like, and I follow it to an extent, but honestly, he tries to keep me from being as hard on myself as I am, and always tells me like I don't have to, you know, be that way. And you know, sometimes I agree. Sometimes you don't have to be super duper like this has to be great. Like sometimes, bro, just fuck around. Like just make some fun shit. Sometimes you just need that. Sometimes you just need to, you know, and sometimes imperfections make the song perfect, you know? So
For sure.
if you have a muddy mix for a song and you can't figure out how to, you know, maybe that muddy mix might be the thing that, you know, there's been a lot of times where I may fix up a song, you know, and it sounds more quote unquote professional, but people will like the original better because it just, maybe it had a better feel or hit a little harder, you know? So yeah, you don't always have to be that way. And I think him showing me that and, you know, just letting me know is probably some of the best advice I got.
But it's good to have people like that around you for sure.
It is. It's very
Definitely.
healthy.
So what's a legacy you want to leave behind?
Be yourself. Just literally be you. Do whatever feels right in your heart. You may get a lot of people telling you something, you know, what you need to do, what you don't need to do. And if you end up following every advice that every person is gonna tell you, you're gonna drive yourself crazy. the best thing you can do is be yourself. I want to teach people, I want to show that if you are truly authentically yourself, you're gonna end up being happy with the results that come, you know? So yeah, just be you.
Definitely, definitely. So what's next for you the rest of this year and then going into next year?
Well, I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble for putting this out, but I'm part of a band now. I won't give too much info because
No band name or anything? No?
Nah, I can't give. I ain't gonna give too much out yet. I'm sure that'll come out pretty soon though. But I'm part of a band now, and I'll be putting a lot of like focus into that band. And I'll be making some more music. I'll be working on some new stuff. A lot of people are asking me about songs that I made before the album that they're still listening to that I ended up putting down. Just wait, you know, that'll come. They may come back, and if they do come back, you know me, I'm gonna stay consistent with my quality. I'm gonna make sure that if it comes back, I'm gonna come back. It's gonna come back in a way that you're gonna be like, holy shit, it's gonna be fantastic. But yeah, a lot of stuff in store for the near future. Definitely.
Yeah, man. Cool, I'm excited for it, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for pulling up, really appreciate you.
Yeah, man.
You survived the Mara to get here, that was dope.
Yeah, oh my God.
For sure, for sure. All right, man, can't wait to see what you got to do next, man. Appreciate you.
No problem, thank you for having me.